If you've been on the internet for any amount of time, you've probably heard the term alpha male. Alpha male is a term that a lot of insecure men like to use to make themselves feel better about themselves. The term alpha male is based off a now debunked scientific theory, and the scientist that wrote that theory is begging people to stop using the term alpha male because it's just false information. However, unfortunately, there are some men in the world who would take any and every opportunity to make themselves feel better than other people, usually and especially women. The men who usually view themselves as alpha males mostly just spit a bunch of misogynistic crap and make up a bunch of bullshit to explain why women won't sleep with them. The internet is at a point nowadays where people who see themselves as alpha men normally get laughed at because the world has progressed past the point of seeing men as the ultimate leaders in our society. Not to mention, a lot of people started to notice that the things that these alpha men were preaching were actually pretty terrible, extremely manipulative, and usually very, very harmful. So I thought today maybe I could find a bunch of alpha male quizzes and just take them as myself, see how I come out. Am I an alpha male? Am I a beta cuck? Am I whatever? Maybe I'll take an Omegaverse quiz someday. I also think just calling people males and females needs to stop being a thing. It's usually misogynistic, it's usually transphobic, and it's often used as a way to depersonalize people, so why do people still do that? Alright, it's time to see if I'm an alpha male or not. Okay, let's look at are you an alpha male? From How Stuff Works. Are you physically strong? This is an interesting question because I do play sports. I play hockey and I figure skate, but I'm not a weightlifter. So I'm gonna say I'm not a weakling. Are you comfortable in leadership positions? I don't have a problem being in leadership positions, but I also am not gonna fight somebody for a leadership position, if that makes sense. I'm perfectly okay working by myself, but I'm also perfectly okay helping other people. In almost every single job I've ever had, I've ended up being a trainer, so somebody who teaches everyone else how to do their job correctly. I'm gonna say I'm comfortable in most leadership situations. How regularly do you experience moments of weakness? What does that even mean? Is this question do you have emotions? What? I'm gonna say it's pretty rare because I don't really know what they mean. Are members of the opposite sex attracted to you? I'm non-binary, so I'm also pan, so it's not that big a deal to me. I'm gonna say it's pretty rare. How popular are you? I'm more of a loner in day-to-day activities, but I do have a few friends. They just live pretty far away from me, so I can't visit them every day. So I'm gonna say I have a few friends. Would you say that you're admired by others? This is a weird question. Like I said, in a lot of my work, I've actually been a trainer, and my field of work is actually dominated by old men. So I actually make a lot of, not enemies, but they don't like me telling them what to do. At work, I'm not out yet. So I'm femme presenting, I'm young, and also a big thing is they've worked at the company for 20 plus years and I've only been there for 5 years. So I actually get a lot of adversity from people in my life because old men don't like being told what to do, and that's my job, is to tell them what to do. I did have one trainee that made a big deal about how good of a trainer I was, so I'm gonna say there's a couple people who admire me. How do you react when someone challenges your authority? As previously mentioned, it happens every fucking day. I'm kind of used to it at this point. It's a constant struggle, honestly. My job is to teach you how to do this because you're not doing it right, so you just arguing with me constantly is not helping either of us. I'm gonna say I'm not intimidated because I've been doing this for so long at this point. Trust me, Mr. Johnson, you're not the first old man to call me a bitch. How do you react when things get stressful? I think it depends on the kind of stress and how much stress. I think if stress builds up over time, I don't handle it so well, but immediate, very stressful scenarios I handle very well. My other job, of course, is a private figure skating coach. That can be very stressful when children fall down and get hurt, or even adults fall down and get hurt. Ice skating can be very dangerous. Those situations are very immediate and very high stress situations, but I feel I handle those very, very well. Stress building up over time, however, I don't think I handle as well. Having things constantly grating on my nerves, having bills piling up, having just a bunch of inconveniences one after the other, after the other, after the other, that kind of thing can really break me down. I wouldn't say I make more mistakes, I'll say this one. It's the most in the middle, I think. How would you rate your self-confidence? Again, it depends on the situation, but I wouldn't say I'm the most confident person in the world. I feel like if I know what I'm talking about, I'm very confident to the point where I come off as arrogant. I'm a very blunt and very matter-of-fact person. And especially if I know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to waste time getting my point across. However, on the opposite hand, if I don't really know what I'm talking about, or it's something I'm kind of new to, I definitely take a back seat on trying to voice my opinions because I don't know if I'm right or not. And for me, if I'm not right, what's the point in speaking? I'm gonna say I'm confident in most situations, but I do get overwhelmed from time to time. That sounds the most accurate. How trustworthy are you? I am a ride or die. Would you consider yourself fully authentic? I think in the most recent years of my life, definitely. When I was closeted back in my parents' house, or even the first few years that I wasn't in my parents' house, I definitely struggled a lot with authenticity. A lot of Catholic guilt and that kind of stuff built up in me. But I definitely think nowadays I'm way more, like, authentic than I ever have been. Oh, this is talking about, like, your feelings and emotions. Here's my thing. I don't see why people need to know. If you need to know, I'll let you know, kind of thing, you know? But like if we're just at work, I'm not gonna tell you because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your work. It won't affect my work. I'm gonna say you have to wear a mask of some kind in this world. How courageous are you? This goes back to that self-confidence question and also the stress question. In very high intensity moments, I'd say I'm pretty courageous, if you want to put it that way. I used to read a lot of Lemony Snicket when I was a little kid, and in one of his series there was like a running quote that was like, "Get scared later." So I kind of, not even on purpose, but that kind of happens to me. In the moment, I'm like very focused on what's happening in the moment, making sure it gets taken care of. Then afterwards, I like kind of have the realization of what happened, and all those like feelings of fear kind of bubble up to the surface. But it's not until after the thing's already over. I'm gonna say I have moments of doubt, but I'm generally willing to do whatever needs to be done. I think that's the closest answer. How common is it for you to act foolishly? I'm gonna go with it's pretty rare. I'm not one to just take risks out of nowhere, but at the same time, there's always the chance I might just spontaneously do something one day. That's happened to me before. Were those times where I act spontaneously foolish? It's about 50-50s. When's the last time you felt completely lost in your life? That's a weird question. Do you tend to know what you want? I'm gonna say it usually takes me a while to figure out what I want. I'm one of those people that's like, well, what do you want for dinner? How unique is your style? Very unique, but not in a good way. I dress for comfort and for comfort alone. I have no fashion sense. I do not desire to have a fashion sense. I'm gonna say I have a look that is totally mine, because that is true, and the rest of these don't really make sense. Would you consider yourself a competitive person? I am a surprisingly competitive person about weirdly specific things. I'm not very competitive at my job, because my jobs are usually a training position where there's nobody else competing for that, first of all. Also, I know I'm good at it. For things like figure skating and hockey, I'm more competitive with myself than other people. However, for more intellectually based things, I am very competitive with other people. I was the know-it-all in school. I was the person that would have my hand raised for every single question. I was the kid where the teacher would go, "I need anybody except for you to answer this question." I'm competitive in the way where I feel like I need to prove myself, almost. A really good example of that is there's a guy at the hockey rink that also does like magic on the side. And he likes to come do magic tricks at the front desk. And I always like to repeat how he did the magic trick back to him. It's not even like I like doing it, it's just like almost, it just happens. Because I really like magic. I really like it. I really like how interesting it can be, how you can trick the mind. And so I pay attention when people do magic tricks, and magic only works if people aren't paying attention. So I'll repeat how he did the trick back to him, because he's sitting there acting as if I don't know how it happened. And I think that's what gets to me, is he assumed I didn't know. And I was like, no, I do know how you did that. And so I will tell him. But I'll tell him as if it's exciting and like it's a fun thing. We both know how this happened. And he is very annoyed because I just explained his magic trick to the whole front desk. I'll say I'm a pretty competitive person, but I don't have to be the best at everything. Would you consider yourself more of an optimist or a pessimist? I guess I'm a realist, which is sadly more pessimistic. Definitely more so in the recent years. When was the last time you flaked out on a responsibility? I don't. I'm gonna say it's been so long I can't recall. Are you a rebel or do you tend to follow the rules? It depends on the rules. Like, I'm not gonna get myself fired. But also, you know, I don't follow unjust laws, so I'm gonna say I tend to follow the rules, but I'm happy to break them if I think they're unfair or wrong. I think that's a pretty good way to say it. When was the last time someone said you were an inspiration to them? How many people just have people walking up to you going, "You're such an inspiration to me"? I mean, if you're not already rich and famous, how often does this happen to people? I'm gonna say, someone said that to me once. Sure. Are you confident or cocky? I think I might come off as cocky to people who don't know me very well. Because like I said, I'm very blunt and very forward. And if I know what I'm talking about, I'm not taking any flack from anybody. Maybe I can go a little overboard with confidence. Maybe that's a good answer. Would you consider yourself ambitious? None of these really feel like the right answer. I have very big plans and I expect to achieve all my goals. How about I have very big plans, but I expect not to achieve most of them? Like, I don't expect to go to the Olympics, but I can have that goal, you know? I can have the goal of writing and publishing a novel, but I don't really expect that to happen. I'm gonna say I've had some ambitious plans, but I've learned to scale it down. None of these really seem to fit with me, but I think that one's as close as I'm gonna get. Has anyone ever told you that you make them feel safe all the time? Do people around you tend to improve their lives after they've met you? I do my best to try and make other people's lives better, but if they're not willing to put in the effort, it's not gonna make a difference. I always do my best to help the people in my life, but there are also a lot of people that are just like perfectly willing to be shitheads for the rest of their life, and that's just, you don't hang out with those people anymore, you know? How many people consider you to be their go-to guy? I don't really know what this means. I'll go with that one because I'm pretty reliable at work and I think I'm a good friend. How would you rate your intelligence? This is almost a trick question because most people score themselves pretty high on intelligence. I'm gonna go ahead and say above average because I know what a turn signal is for. When's the last time you lost your temper? I don't really lose my temper very often, so I'm gonna say it's been a long time. Are you a jealous person? No. I am mostly an alpha. I don't know what that means. However, that is not the goal I was looking for, so let's find another quiz that calls me a beta. How would you describe your social life? Active with a small friend group. In your opinion, is your physical appearance important? No. How would you consider your role in the friend group? I'll go with this one. Do you ever feel defeated or weak? I guess. Doesn't everyone? If conflict arises in your life with another person or group of people, how do you normally react? At work? Yeah. I am so used to these old men just like doing their best to undermine me that I just kind of don't even accept that anymore, I guess is a way to phrase it. But at the same time, in like social aspects with like friends and stuff, I'm more of a let's talk it out kind of person, which none of these have that. So I guess I'm just gonna go with this one. Do you feel like you get attention from girls or guys that you're interested in? Sometimes, I guess. Would you consider yourself dependable and trustworthy? Yes. Do you lie when you need to in order to get what you want? I am not good at lying. I'm gonna say I will if I have to, but I don't like to. I'm really not the best at lying and I really don't like to. How often would you say you get embarrassed by your actions or feel ashamed of how you've acted? Sometimes. I think it's only natural. That's a pretty good view. My results. I'm on my way to becoming an alpha. Do you ever get really mad at one of your friends? Just like out of the blue? Have any of your friends ruined one of your parties? Where's the I don't throw parties? There's that one. Which of your favorite animals? Out of these? I'm gonna say tiger because I was born in the year of the tiger. Do you have a dog that is small and that everyone adores? I got a snake. Doesn't that count for something? My roommate has a big dog. Close enough, right? How mean can you be? I don't like to be mean. Are you a nice guy? Am I a nice guy or am I a nice guy? Because those are two very different things. I'm gonna say cool, calm, and collected as well. Which of the following activities do you prefer doing on the weekend? Probably relaxing. I'm not a big video games person, but whatever. Pick a quality that suits you the best. These are all such limiting answers. I guess I'll go with fun-loving. How self-confident are you? Middle. How do you approach leadership opportunities? None of these are correct. I'll say the pays well one. Oh, I'm a gamma. What does that mean? I've never heard of that one. I really thought one of these quizzes was gonna call me a beta male. So far, it's all just been good things. Oh, here we go. Let's take the only an alpha will pass this manly quiz. Here we go. I'm one of those because of that. Like, I was how loud do you play the music in your car? Let's see. Taking this quiz. Just loud enough for me to hear it. Medium volume with the windows up. Full volume with the windows down. Fucking murdered. Where's the in-between option? What about medium volume? Full volume with the windows up. It's hot in Texas. Where's the middle option? Where's full volume with the windows up? Where's that option? I'll go medium volume with the windows up. When you get on an airplane, what is the best type of weapon? What level do you tilt the back to? I haven't been on an airplane. Does might make right? No. Baseball bat. In adult life, have you ever dated or had a crush on a girl taller than you? Most people are taller than me. I am very short. Oh, I didn't even get beta this time. I got lone wolf again. So, here's the thing. I'm done taking these stupid quizzes. Every time I take one of these quizzes, I get more and more frustrated with the questions, so I think I'm gonna just cut it. Turns out I am an alpha male, apparently, according to these quizzes. I mean, I got alpha twice, I got gamma once, which I didn't even know was an option, and then I got lone wolf. So, I mean, these quizzes were stupid. No one's denying that. There were certain points in some of these quizzes where it's like the question and the answers themselves lent themselves to like that incel-y, misogynistic kind of vibe. There were a lot of questions where like all of the answers felt off. But then again, if you're somebody who's trying to prove yourself to be an alpha male by taking a bunch of online quizzes, I'm gonna assume you're misogynistic just off the bat. There were some pretty interesting points in these quizzes where it's like, because I was not raised as a man, it was very clear that I was going to answer these questions very differently to somebody who was raised as a man. So that's a pretty interesting takeaway. But beyond that, I mean, this was a silly video. I was really hoping one of these would call me like a beta cuck. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's now official. I am an alpha male. I'm going to put it on my resume. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.